It's time for Thunder at the Fair with Mitch Nellis.
Broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
So good. So good. Yes. Oh, it was unbelievable. We're just talking about the Freeze's Scotty Cup that I had this morning before the show. Crushed all the strawberries. I will admit that I didn't finish all the chocolate and the marshmallow. It's amazing, but I've lost 5 pounds in the last 2 weeks, so I'm tasting everything. I'm not necessarily finishing everything, but it was absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. That's Freeze's Candy Shop and Heavenly Roasted Nuts. They're right here in West Allis. They're here at the fair. They're in the Dairy Pavilion. They are absolutely unbelievable. So shout out to Freeze's Candy Shop. My name's Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. This is Thunder at the Fair on 1250 AM at 105.7 FM at thefanmilwaukee.com, on the Odyssey app, on the iHeart app. Charlie, I actually have a question for you.
What's up?
I don't know if you're allowed to answer this.
I don't know.
We work for Odyssey, obviously. And iHeart, in a way, is a competitor, but it's also a collaborator. I'm a big fan of collaboration, not competition.
Right.
I know I'm not allowed to break the rules, but I would have guests from other companies on my show if it was up to me. It's not up to me. I don't. Again, I want to keep my job here. Have you listened to us on the iHeart app yet?
I have not yet.
Because I just realized I have not, and I don't know if you know this or not, but I worked there for about 5 years. So I have the app on my phone. I don't really use it anymore because I have the Odyssey app, and I have Pandora, I have Spotify, I'm a human being, so I have apps on my phone. But I haven't listened to us on the iHeart app, and I just kind of I assume it sounds exactly the same, and it's just another opportunity for all of our fans to listen to all the amazing sports talk that we do here at the Fan. And so you could actually listen to sports talk on the iHeart app and not other things on the iHeart app. So I assume quality-wise, and I don't know, do they run different commercials than the Odyssey app does at the breaks? Who controls that commercial inventory? I don't know any of these answers. And so I think I'll probably try it today. And then tomorrow I'll go right back to the Odyssey app because the Odyssey app is my home. The Odyssey app's the bread and butter. My paycheck comes from Odyssey. So I want to keep the people happy that keep me happy.
Well, I'm proud of you for reaching out of your boundaries a little bit, going to test it out a little bit, and you're good.
Yes.
Just one day, that's all it is.
Yeah, just once. I'm just going to try it once. Just like I would eat the donut, the chocolate frosted donut with crunchy bugs on top. There was a family, I mentioned this on Monday, that brought that by and only ate half of it and offered it. I think if I eat that, I kind of want to buy it myself. I don't want to eat now granted they cut it. It wasn't a big teeth marks in the donut or anything. But I feel if I'm going to eat it, I want to control the process. That's understandable. So I haven't had the donut with the bugs on top, but I would. It's a great crunch, by the way. If you like crunch, if you're an ASMR person, that crunch does it for you. Bugs are I think you can't do better than those bugs. My name's Mitch Nellis. If you can't tell, I'm at the Wisconsin State Fair because I'm talking about all sorts of fair things. But we want to thank Lily Zhao for joining us on the Fan Guest Line, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Lily's she was up at family night, and she's covering the Brewers. The Brewers, again, play at 6:15 this evening, which means the leadoff show will be right here on the Fan at 5 o'clock. Tommy Wirtz, the Kmart model, will be here at State Fair from 5 to 6 live with the leadoff show. And today on the Brewers, it is Freddie Peralta against, is it Joey Wentz? Yep, Joey Wentz. Yep. He'll be making, he was a relief pitcher for most of the season for Minnesota, and who else did he pitch for this year? Maybe Pittsburgh? I can't remember. but he was pitching for the Twins. He got traded, and the Braves put him into the starting rotation. And he actually pitched pretty well his last time out. 6 innings, only gave up 1 hit to the Royals.
Pittsburgh
but
is
he has Pittsburgh is correct. Okay, he has been beaten up a little bit by the Brewers this season in a couple appearances. So we'll see if they can keep that trend going. But the Brewers do play at 6:15 this evening, and the Packers have a game Saturday night at Lambeau. It is Jets at Packers, preseason game 1, 7 o'clock this Saturday, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And no Nate Hobbs. We talked about it a lot the first hour. Nate Hobbs undergoing a procedure. We found out, as Lily said, we found out before family night, but it got kind of like lost in all the family night stuff. That was, and we knew, it was like that he wasn't available. We didn't know that it was going to be a procedure until we found that out this morning. By the way, Van, who's here as part of our promotions team, is zip tying things right now. It's like crushing it, because we've been taping things down. We're right in a wind tunnel here at State Fair. He is zip tying thing. It's so cool. It's fun watching a master at work, and he's just doing an awesome job. But Nate Hobbs is out. But the Packers are on the field right now, and we're monitoring what they're doing. They're getting ready for Saturday night, and I know before they got on the field, Matt LaFleur had his daily check-in with the media at 9:50 or so. So let's take a little listen. Let's take a little sneak listen into head coach Matt LaFleur, what he had to say. As I said, practice every day starts at 10:30, so at 9:50 he meets with the media. Let's see what really intelligent question Andy Herman asked during that 6.5 minutes or whatever it was of Matt LaFleur as well. So here's Matt LaFleur from earlier today.
Give you any determination on Jordan and some of the starters for Saturday?
Yes.
And that is?
Well, they're football players, so everybody's got it going.
Pause. All right. Amazing. Matt, do you have any idea how much your starters and guys like Jordan are going to play Saturday night? Yes.
That's it. That's all you need.
The technicality of actually answering that question by saying yes, which he's not wrong, he answered it, but the pomposity of the knowing that that's not what is being asked, and that people want more, and listen, when Lily's on the show, or when Jocko's on the show later, or when Drew comes on with Sparky, or with Mason and me and Tommy, or any of our guests come on, and we make a statement, we know we're having a conversation. Matt LaFleur, when he's hosting a press conference, is not having a conversation. Matt LaFleur is not looking to have an iced coffee, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my iced coffee. He's not looking to have an iced coffee with the reporter who asked the question. He is looking to share as little information as possible to make the media in the room happy. The one thing that he forgets sometimes, oh my gosh. All right, real quick, we just got to say hi to Mark Baden's in the house. What's up, Mark? How you doing? Love your shirt. Yes, he's wearing a shirt that says awesome like my daughter's. I got to get that shirt. But I think what Matt LaFleur forgets sometimes, and I think media members forget this too, is that the entire circus of the press conference, the entire Matt LaFleur sharing or not sharing information, the entire reporters asking or not asking questions or saying talk about, as opposed to actually formulating a coherent question that human beings are able to ask, is that this is for the fans, right? This is information that is supposed to go to the fans. This is information. Yes, it's information that the New York Jets are going to use for Saturday night, and the Colts, and that the Detroit Lions are going to use for Week 1. Now they know Nate Hobbs has a knee, and but it's the leagues exist because fans every year spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on cable and Netflix and Amazon and whatever other network that they're on T-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies and hats and winter hats and scarves and sweatpants and sneakers and trucker hats and all those sorts of things. That fans spend millions and millions of dollars on tickets, whether they're nosebleeds or 50-yard line or whatever, or the luxury suites that fans and companies and even like the CEO and CMO of XYZ company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, like that person is probably a fan of the Green Bay Packers and wants some of this information. And I just think so often the media think they're there to get answers for the media because they want to write their story or they want the scoop or they want a good soundbite. And Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst or the players or the assistant coaches are like, and some of them, listen, Josh Jacobs shares everything. Like Josh Jacobs is the best. He will get you could give him a statement and he'll go on for a couple minutes actually sharing information. And I know it's not Matt LaFleur's job to overshare, but it is his job to share. It is his job to answer like it's in. I don't know how this works in coaches' contracts with their team or with the NFL or what the agreement is between the teams and the NFL and those sorts of things. But there is a responsibility there, knowing that fans are literally giving millionaire and billionaires millions of dollars every year. That like it kind of we're not getting into Giannis right now. We all saw the Shams report. I think Andy Herman talked about it. I don't know if Mason and Tommy talked about it. I think I sent you the link, Charlie, so we have the sound available when you want to get to it. And somebody, Giannis was at a memorabilia show, and somebody's like, all in Milwaukee, and he's like, all in Milwaukee, and it's like, I want Giannis. I do. And Sparky has talked about this. I want Giannis to just come out and say, I'm playing with the Bucks. I'm a member of the Bucks, playing with the Bucks. I'm always open to opportunities. If it's best for the Bucks, if it's best for me, if a trade happened, fine, whatever. But I'm all in on playing with the Bucks. And I think we know that about Giannis, right? We believe that about Giannis. And so I don't know that he necessarily needs to come out at a press conference and do that. But hey, any idea what's going to happen with Saturday night and Jordan Love and the starters? Yep. I mean, it's funny. We all laugh when that happens, but it's also kind of, man. Here's one of those questions. I don't know if I'm allowed to say a word. Technically, I'm allowed to say this word that I want to say, but I also I like to lead with kindness, and I like to lead with not using words that if your kid's in the car, you're not going to want it. So it's kind of for LaFleur to answer it that way, it's kind of jerky. It's kind of being a jerk. It's kind of be yeah, we get it. You're the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. You're allowed to be pompous, and you're allowed to not share information, and you're allowed to do you. And because you're in Wisconsin, nobody's going to challenge you. You give that answer in New York, and immediately another reporter is going to jump in and be like, "Can you share that information with us, please?" And I'm sure it was well, and he went on to answer it. So I don't know. Charlie, I didn't see the video. I don't know if you saw the video or not. Did he have a smile on his face?
He always does. He always has a smirk on his face in those situations.
But a smirk.
It's a smirk.
Smirk's not a... Yeah.
It's a kind of he knows that he's not answering the question fully, and he knows that he knows what he's doing. And it's just frustrating because these are people just trying to do their jobs, like you're saying, and this is part of his job, and he's not doing that part of his job. He could go on and answer that question without having to force his reporter to ask a follow-up question, making themselves look dumb.
Right. I'm not at these press conferences, obviously, but I've been to a lot of press conferences. I covered the Badgers for a number of years, where I was at every Monday, every game press conference, every Barry Alvarez, every Bo Ryan, every Dick Bennett. I was at a ton of press conferences. And so I saw this type of behavior all the time. And I like to think that whenever I asked a question, I was always asking it on behalf of the fans. Like, what would the fans want to know? Even with Murphy the other day, like, I asked him about the atmosphere in AmFam Field, playing that third game against the Cubs. And he was like, he said he didn't really notice it, but like if there was extra juice out there, like great. But I'm like, that's what fans want to know. Like, yeah, fans want to know how Mizorowski's feeling, and fans want to know how Nate Hobbs is feeling. But fans want to know other stuff too. And it's like, we're not there to be pompous media, although a lot of media is, especially national guys. We're not there for the head coach or the general manager to be pompous. We're there to disseminate information to the fans of what the fans want to know. And yes, sometimes you have to ask a question a certain way to get them to answer it, and it's not the way a fan would ask it. But more often than not, I try to get that information. So we might go back to Matt LaFleur later in the show. I also might put him on Thunder Watch, just for being for having that type of answer. But joining us next, Gabe Lacques, a USA Today baseball writer. He's based in the D.C. area, Northern Virginia. But he wrote an article about the Brewers and about Mizorowski. And so I just wanted to get a national feel for, is nobody paying attention to the Brewers? Are people starting to pay attention to the Brewers? And see what he had to say about that. Gabe Lacques, USA Today baseball writer, joining us next. My name is Mitch Nelson, a.k.a. Thunder. You're listening to 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, Thunder at the Fair on The Fan. This is Thunder at the Fair. My name's Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder Abs. I mean, it is like you can't, if you had a piece of paper, and you know little kids, when they write that piece of paper and they put the sun in the corner and they've got grass on the ground, they build that little house and whatever. It's like that is today at the Wisconsin State Fair. It is absolutely beautiful. And it is picture perfect. 80 degrees in fair at the fair right now. High of 81 today, low of 64 tonight. It is getting a little warmer the next few days. Tomorrow's a high of 83, Thursday 86, Friday up to, and Saturday will be up to 89. But today is 80, 81, and it is absolutely fantastic. Joining us now on Thunder at the Fair on the Fan. Gabe Jacks from the USA Today. Gabe, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing good. I kind of wish I was at the fair. That looks like a really good time.
It is absolutely a blast. I don't know if you get to the Virginia State Fair at all or the Maryland State Fair. I don't think I assume Washington, D.C. doesn't have an actual fair. Have you done state fairs in the past?
Not really. I grew up in California, and the state fair was kind of in the middle of the state. It was tricky to get to, but I love a good county fair. I love a good turkey leg. That's my go-to when we're talking fair.
So my walk back to my car after the show every day, I walk right past the turkey leg stand, and every day I look at it, and I'm like, I opened things up last Thursday with a funnel cake, of course. We're in Wisconsin, so we're going big with cheese curds. Absolutely. As you would imagine, but the turkey leg stand is right there on my walkout. I haven't had it yet, but it's absolutely on my radar. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know we're not very well acquainted, but I saw an article that you wrote about Jacob Mizrowski and the Brewers recently, and I wanted to have you on. Basically, we in Wisconsin often feel that the national media overlook what's going on in Milwaukee, whether it's the perceived disrespect for Giannis and that Shams is always talking about that Giannis is leaving Milwaukee. Giannis isn't leaving Milwaukee. Or whether it's like, the Packers get their due because they're kind of a national brand, but certainly the Milwaukee Brewers, we feel that. Is the national media starting to notice that the Milwaukee Brewers are actually a pretty decent baseball team?
Yeah, and I think that it's beyond team at this point, and you're just looking at franchise, because you look at the continuity since 2018 with all the playoff berths, with the regime changes. Craig Counsell leaves, David Stearns leaves, Matt Arnold does not skip a beat, Pat Murphy. Bit of a different style than Counsell, to say the least, but he's getting it done with those guys, and they have the best record in baseball. There's just no avoiding it. In terms of the due respect thing, I think maybe two factors here. The Central is always a little bit of a sketchy division. It hasn't produced a World Series winner in a long time, since the Cubs.
True.
So there's always a little bit of that wait and see. And then the Brewers maybe being a little bit a victim of their own success, having been in the playoffs so many times, and then bowing out soon. I think there might be a part of the national media to kind of say, okay, let's see what happens, And the thing that really jumps out about me about this Brewer team and this season is right now they have a 4-game lead to get the number 2. They have a 4-game lead on avoiding the wild card series. And for a Central team to get that bye and avoid that little trap would be absolutely massive for this team. Then suddenly you're in the DS, the field is narrowed a bit. You got home field, you got your pitching lined up. So if they are able to win the division, and I believe the Central winner will have at least the number 1 or 2 seed, that's going to be a really big boon for them and put them in a really good seed in October. So it's tentative right now, but I think the steam is going to pick up a little more as we go on.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. I mean, we talk about it almost every day, that like last year with the Mets, the year before with the Diamondbacks, then the Braves, back to the 1-game playoff they had a few years ago with the Nationals. It's like they haven't gotten since 18 when they made the NLCS against the Dodgers, Game 7, since 19 when they had a very similar season, but then Yelich got hurt in September and it kind of derailed everything. The Brewers haven't had a deep postseason run And trust me, we here in Wisconsin, like we are waiting for that. Is this year's team? Do you think it's built that it could be that type of team that, whether we're talking World Series or just at least the NLCS, is this the type of team that could win a playoff series?
Yes, and there's a lot of teams like the Brewers in this postseason circle that we'll call it right now. Play good defense, run the bases really well, decent starting pitching, guys that put the ball in play. All these things are really good facets, for these teams to have. And I feel like I've seen a lot of that this year from the Cubs, from the Brewers, from the Blue Jays, from the Tigers. And not to say that they're all the same team, because they're different in some ways, but the foundation of all these teams is really good. And I'm still a pitching guy. I still think so much of it comes down to pitching. And they've got guys. If Mizorowski is all systems go in October. Obviously, Freddie coming out of the chute at number 1. And I think everybody has to really like what you've seen from Brandon Woodruff so far. Really great story of just being on ice for a year. And these rehabs are harder than it is. Like, he'll miss a year and he'll be back. Sometimes it's, some guys, and I know it wasn't Tommy John, a different situation, but nonetheless, it's tricky to kind of land the plane in that second year and just come back and be who you are. So if he continues on that plane and goes into the playoffs as that guy, that makes them a really tough out when you talk about postseason baseball.
Yeah, they're starting pitching, and you didn't even mention Quinn Priester, who's like a guy nobody's ever heard of before, and he's 11-2, and they literally don't lose when he pitches, which has been unbelievable. But I want to get back to Mizorowski, because I know you wrote in your article. So I started my show on Monday by saying I am 100% not worried about Mizorowski. I think this whole I still call it the DL. I'm sure you do too. Like we're old, right? So
sure.
Like they might call it the injured list now, but I still call it the DL. He got put on the injured list, but if they needed him to pitch, he could have pitched. I think it's a total load management situation. He's never pitched more than 97 innings in a season before. He's at 97 right now. If he comes back and he's the Mizorowski that we've seen, whether he's starting or they find a spot for him in the bullpen, whatever it ends up being, I know you mentioned that in your article, that it's like, this is a smart way to manage when you have a rookie of this quality, and make sure you don't overwork him and make sure you pace him for the really, like, listen, an early August game against the Nationals doesn't have the same importance as a mid-August game against the Cubs or a late September game that you're jockeying for playoff position, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, Pat Murphy raised a really good point as well, which is he's had a lot coming at him, and it's, from the debut to the hype to facing schemes to the All-Star thing to the brief backlash to the All-Star thing. But he,
right.
I was down there in Atlanta at the All-Star game, and he really handled everything really well. You got 2 days of media just kind of coming at you. Tough for him to hide, big guy, and here he is,
6'7",
going through the 45 minutes of media availability, going through the availability the next day, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot. It seems like a junket, the All-Star game, but they do ask a lot of those guys with regard to commitments and the red carpet and all that kind of stuff. And so, that's an awful lot when you haven't been around the league entirely one time, let alone just 5 starts going into that. So it's not a bad chance to catch your breath. And then from, the physical standpoint of keeping the odometer down a little bit and all that, it's it makes a lot of sense, and not to discount that taking a 101 mile an hour line drive off the shin is not a pleasant experience. So hey, why the heck not?
I heard it was a gnarly bruise. That's how it was described to me. He did have a gnarly bruise from it, which makes sense, right?
Those things hurt for sure.
Yep. Gabe Lacques joining us here on the Thunder at the Fair, and Gabe is a reporter with USA Today. He covers all sorts of, and so do you cover just baseball nationally, and whatever the story of the moment is, you're locked in on, or what is your beat?
So I'm based. Nice. Based in D.C. My cohort Bob Nightingale is in Phoenix, so we kind of,
Yep, and we've had Bob on from time to time on the air as well. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll kind of go regionally a little bit, and then do the Jewel events, All-Star Game playoffs and stuff. So it's with 2 teams in my market, it's pretty easy to kind of stay current. But yeah, certainly just kind of jump on whatever is happening at a given time. And my gosh, yeah, the season is always unpredictable. You never know exactly what's gonna come around the corner here. But this has been a really interesting season. A lot of storylines, a lot of teams emerging. It's a little bit more of a baseball fans kind of year with regard to some of the, like compelling stuff that's come out. And then guys like Cal Raleigh come around and provide that fodder and that kind of that curiosity, to the general fan. So it's kind of threading the needle between explaining what's going on in the game and trying to appeal to a wide audience that may not entirely get into baseball the way the hardcore fan might.
Sure. You can follow Gabe Lacques on Twitter. It's Gabe LACQUES. Gabe. Is there a French pronunciation? Is it Gabe Lacques or anything like that?
You can be as pretentious as you want with it. That's what I say. But it's kind of phony French. So I don't take offense at any artistic interpretations of it. So.
I like that. I want to go back to something you just said because I really like how you explained what this baseball season feels like. Because I tend to agree with you about how it's been kind of a baseball season for the baseball fan. You've seen the Tigers and the Blue Jays and the Brewers to an extent. Teams that you haven't had success in recent years. Playing baseball the way that you're not seeing home runs after home runs after home runs and just like a home run derby between teams, but you're seeing, teams put the bat on ball and putting together, crooked numbers and then having really good pitching. And that really good pitching can win and can carry you. And it's been fun. And I would say even with the bigger market teams, even with the Cubs or the Dodgers, the Phillies and the Mets, what we're seeing with them is that it seems like it's been a season of good baseball.
Yeah, and in fact, to your point of it not just being home runs, people are striking out less as well. It's did something on that a couple months ago. I think they're down maybe 5 to 10% somewhere in that range, but significant. And actually asked Craig Counsell about that a couple months ago, and Counsell was saying, I think the market has already shifted. If you start paying guys for contact. And Nico Horner is kind of the blue ribbon winner of the Cubs. He never strikes out. If you start rewarding,
he had that bat. I don't know if you saw Horner's at bat against Mizorowski last week in the first.
I did not.
Mizorowski had that first inning where it was just he gave up 3 in the first inning and then was perfect for the next 10 outs. He got the next 10 outs, the last out, and then the next. But that first inning, he had Horner. I don't know, had to have been 10, 11, 12 pitches.
Wow.
And Horner was clearly overmatched in this at bat, but would not swing and miss. He just fouled off and fouled off and fouled off, and it was Mizorowski, he just had to get out of the inning.
Yes.
Just let him hit the ball. Odds are he's, and it was a great at bat by Horner. It was a great pitching job by Mizorowski too. But you're absolutely right. And I think the Cubs are kind of the poster child for they may foul off 100 balls a game, but they're not going to let you beat them by striking them out.
Right. And when you're talking about guys with not going much more than 5-6 innings, not throwing much more than 100 pitches, that's a really valuable skill to have. And again, translates really well to the postseason. Yep. You get earlier in that bullpen over the course of 5 to 7 games. The more you see a bullpen, the better your chances are of maybe doing damage against them. So it is weird. There's these that cluster of teams I mentioned. The Brewers among them. They're very, I don't want to say pesky because that's kind of damning them with faint praise, but talented and can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but also have the pesky traits. It's not just a classic Yankee team, say the 04 Yankees where they had 9 guys hit 35 home runs and then they get to the playoffs or whatever, they flame out.
I like pesky. I like pesky.
It's a good trait,
Yeah. All right, Gabe, let's put you on the spot. We get to mid-late October. you don't have to pick the Brewers. You could pick whoever you think. Who are you predicting to play in the World Series this year as of August 5th, 2025, knowing that there's still 50 games left and all sorts of things could change?
Right. Yeah, it is so tough. I settled on, and this is very recent and always subject to change. I settled on a 1993 rematch of the Blue Jays and the Phillies.
Blue Jays and Phillies, okay. Little Mitch
it,
Williams, Joe Carter situation,
yes,
huh?
Absolutely. No Lenny Dykstra to be found this time. But, and the Phillies, it's a very, things just never work out the way you think they do, right? That's the way the playoffs go.
It's true.
But on paper, they have the most, complete team, especially now that they have Duran at the back end, who kind of lines their bullpen up nicely.
That's a big addition for them because their bullpen was a mess.
Right, and everybody talks about Zach Wheeler, deservedly so, but Christopher Sanchez has been throwing the ball so well, and then you add on the fact that Kyle Schwarber just looks like a man that cannot be stopped. Bryce Harper is healthy.
True.
Trey Turner kind of defying his early 30s a little bit. They're an interesting team because it's almost like how do they come in on the runway into October is so big. They were bad the last 2 months of last year and not very good against the Mets.
No, I feel this way about the Phillies is like they maybe more than almost any other team have been over the past number of years a momentum team. Like when they get hot, they destroy everybody, and when they're not, they just they don't even show up. They're just a mess. Like they just seem like that.
Happened, when a couple years ago when they just dusted through the Marlins and the Braves, and then the D-backs they were up 3-1, and then suddenly, poof, the bottom the floor just fell out. So you're right. Very streaky. Guys like Nick Castellanos kind of epitomize that. He's a very streaky guy.
Oh, absolutely. He is that guy, right?
Right. Very hot and cold. So it's it may come down to the Castellanoses and Bryson Stotts. If you're pitching around the other guys, can those guys make you pay? And that's a bit of a flip of the coin there. So I very much ride in pencil Phillies Blue Jays, but very much subject to change.
Totally fair. Well, Gabe, thank you so much for taking the time today. I have a feeling we could probably talk baseball for the next couple hours and have a blast. Yep. But we will definitely keep in touch and have you on as we get closer to the playoffs and what's going on all around Major League Baseball for that eagle eye national view on our Milwaukee Brewers. So thank you so much for jumping on today.
You got it, man. Enjoy the fair. Have a turkey leg.
I will have to have one in your honor. Gabe Lacques joining us here on Thunder at the Fair at Gabe Lacques. It's Lacqueus. He covers baseball for USA Today Sports. Wrote an article about Jacob Misiorowski and the Brewers just a couple days ago. And so thank you to him for joining us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Man, turkey leg. Now I'm thinking about that turkey leg and how I'm going to do that. It's tough when you say you're only going to have one thing each day at the fair and you have a dessert early because it's like, man, I gotta. What am I supposed to do here? Like, I need some real food. I mean, I have lots of real. I actually have some real food at home, and so I might just wait for that. But I feel like I need a bite of something, so I might.
Bite of a turkey leg sounds pretty good. I don't know.
It does, though. Turkey leg's more than one bite. Turkey leg's like 174
Sure,
bites.
Jack.
That's true. No Jack today. It's Van today. Van is crushing it. Might have to do a turkey leg with Van. See if see what we can do there. Do some damage. Our thanks to Gabe for jumping on. Always great to hear a national perspective and some national respect on the Brewers name because there's a lot of lack of respect there on the Brewers name as well. Plenty still to go here on Thunder at the Fair. More Brewers talk, more Packers talk. We also have, as we mentioned, some college news and notes. The college football coaches poll is out. I know that Tommy thinks the Badgers are going to go 9-3 this year and just absolutely dominate the Big Ten. So we can't wait for that. My name's Mitch Nels, a.k.a. Thunder, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan. This is Thunder at the Fair on The Fan. Ooh. Owner of a lonely heart, much better than owner of a broken heart. My name is Mitch Nelson, a.k.a. Thunder. This is Thunder at the Fair. Our thanks again to Gabe Lacques for jumping on and just giving us a little national perspective of our Milwaukee Brewers. We're on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan. We're on the free Odyssey app, also the free iHeart app. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, that's how you can listen to our shows. So whether it's Wisconsin Sports Daily or the Mason Crosby Show, Pack-A-Day Radio, just go to Apple, Spotify, or if you're on the Odyssey app or wherever, just type in the name of our show, hit follow. Make sure you hit follow, and that's another big thing you should be doing on our YouTube page. So whatever you're doing right now, just open YouTube, search at The Fan Milwaukee, and click on subscribe. You should be subscribed to our Facebook, to our YouTube channel. That way you see when we go live. You can chime in, you can comment, you can get involved in the conversation, like I did earlier during the Mason Crosby Show when Tommy was deemed the ultimate Kmart model. I thought that was fantastic, and so I chimed in as well there. Charlie, you're on board with that, right? I know you and Sparky are in love with this other nickname. But Kmart model's pretty spot on. That's a pretty good one for Tommy.
I don't know. You're pretty online because you have daughters. You know that one meme of Kevin James staying with his hand in his pockets from King of Queens? I could see Tommy modeling like that for Kmart with tight
exactly,
jeans, white
absolutely.
T-shirt. I think it'd be perfect. I could see it.
And I think Kevin James is a great comparison. Just fancy and don't give any whats and just live your life, man. You just do you.
I think it's a great one, yeah.
And that's Tommy. Tommy just does him, and it's he's just living life, and he's crushing it. Brewers play tonight at 6:15. Freddie's on the mound, so Tommy will be on the air with the leadoff show starting at 5 right here from the Wisconsin State Fair. That should be. I'm excited to see how Freddie rebounds from his last performance. Not a great performance. Got absolutely lit up by the Cubs, and so we'll see what Freddie can do there. And so we'll stay tuned to Wisconsin Sports Daily. Drew Wagner is going to be on today at 2:40 with Sparky, and they'll be talking Brewers. I did want to get to the college football coaches poll top 25 that came out earlier this week. Charlie, do you look at preseason polls at all? Is this on your radar at all?
I do. It's one of actually my favorite things. I like watching the preseason polls, all that. I keep close attention to all the polls, no matter what. Do
you also acknowledge though that preseason polls are sometimes gobbledygook? Oh yeah. Last year, FSU was top 5, top 10.
Well, and I'm a Miami fan. I don't know if you know that about me, so that bothered me a little bit when they were top 5 last year because I knew they weren't that good. But then Miami ends up disappointing every year like they always do, so that didn't help either.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so I'm going to go through. I'm not just going to go through the top 25, but I want to go through the complete rankings, all those receiving votes as well, because I think this is really interesting. So Texas is number 1. Arch Manning, Texas, number 1. It's fine. 28 for actually. There's 5 different teams that got first place votes, so that's really interesting this year. Ohio State number 2, very close behind. They got 20 first place votes. Penn State, so here comes the Big Ten. They got 14 first place votes, and they also, Texas got at 1606, Ohio State 1565, Penn State 1525. Then Georgia 4th, they got 3 votes. Notre Dame didn't get any first place votes. They're 5th. Man, Notre Dame's a joke. Notre Dame is a joke. I don't care if they are going to win all their games because they don't play anybody. Charlie, Notre Dame's a joke. Just write it down. Notre Dame's a joke. They might be 5th and they might finish 5th, and they're not that good. They play their schedule's crap. They're just not that good.
I will say it helps a little bit that they're basically in a conference now or are in a conference now. I mean,
yeah, but it's the ACC.
It is, but
come on, that's not really a conference.
Listen, the ACC has just as many national championships, I believe, in the past. I think it is 15 years as the Big Ten. So they're in that same realm as competitive. They have teams that are constantly competing at least for a playoff spot. I mean, it's a little better. I still don't respect Notre Dame because they spent so long being independent and spent so long with the first 3 games of their season being nothing or the last games after that being nothing. It's just it's annoying.
Yeah, I agree. Well, speaking of the ACC, your buddies from Clemson are 6th, but they also got 2 first-place votes. So we've got Clemson, then we've got Oregon, then Alabama is 8th. LSU 9, Miami, your boys are 10. Charlie, you into it? 10th?
I like it. I think we're going to be...
Is that fair?
I think so. I think looking at the team that we had last year, again, they underperformed. Cam Ward being the number 1 overall pick, he was phenomenal for a majority of the season, and it just kind of felt like the defense, like they do every year, gets tired. And this year, I think it'll be pretty much the same case. You have Carson Beck coming in to be the starting quarterback for that team now, which is a little bit of a different scenario. But also they've been rotating these guys in and out, kind of like Wisconsin does. They get a lot of these transfer players that just come in and play quarterback for 1 year for them, and they go on either somewhere else or go to the league, and it just doesn't really work out for them.
All right, so Miami comes in at 10th, Arizona State at 11th, Illinois at 12th. Ugh, man, it would be nice if Illinois just fell flat on their faces. South Carolina 13, Michigan 14. I don't know. Who knows? Ole Miss 15, SMU 16, Florida 7. There's no way Florida's 17. Florida, like they will figure out a way to mess that up. Tennessee 18, Indiana 19. Is Illinois better than Indiana? I don't know. Kansas State 20, Iowa State 21. Iowa State and Texas A&M technically tied at 21. BYU 23, Texas Tech. That'll make Mason Crosby's family happy at 24. And Boise State at 25. The others receiving votes include Oklahoma, not in the top 25. Missouri, Louisville, USC, not in the top 25. Utah, Baylor, Auburn, Iowa, Memphis, Army, Tulane, Georgia Tech, TCU, Nebraska, bleh. Syracuse, Washington, Navy, Arkansas, Duke, Colorado. What's up, the Colorado Crosbys? Minnesota, bleh. UNLV, Florida State, Kansas, Vanderbilt. And with one vote, the Buffalo Bulls, Bison, whatever they are. Tommy, I named, 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I just named 51 college football teams, and I did not name our Wisconsin Badgers. How mad is Tommy? How mad is Tommy right now?
Tommy's not that bad. He's shaking his head saying, like, that's expected, I think.
Right. So is this like, Luke Fickell's got to be like, we saw a list last week of like the top 10 coaches in college who are on the hot seat. Luke Fickell wasn't on the list, and there was only one Big Ten coach, and it was the coach at Maryland. So like it wasn't even a Big Ten coach because Maryland's not really in the Big Ten. But it was a very like SEC, ACC heavy list. So in Maryland that would make sense. Man, Luke Fickell's got to be at the top of that list. Luke Fickell's got to be like. To not be in the top 25, okay. You're not in the top 25. Like, you're having a down year, you're not in the top 25. But a down year for the Badgers is 5-7, is 6-6, is still in bowl contention, is still competitive. And yes, I know they could have beaten Oregon last year. They had them at home. And they had Penn State. They were toe-to-toe with Penn State for a while. But like, we can't live in this universe where the Badgers stink again. I've told this story years ago. So Charlie and Tommy, you guys don't know this one. So I grew up in outside of Boston, and my mom was from Milwaukee. My grandparents were born in Milwaukee. My grandpa went to Madison. My mom went to Madison before she transferred to Michigan. But I remember being an 8th grader, a 7th grader, and an 8th grader back, like when wheels were still square, like they hadn't invented round wheels yet. And I remember getting the Sunday morning paper. And my best friend in the world, his sister was 8 years older than him. And she went to Wisconsin. And I remember like sleeping over at his house, or he'd be sleeping over at my house, and we get the Sunday morning, the Boston Globe or whatever. And we would just laugh and laugh at how bad the Badgers football team was. Like because we knew we could call his sister and make fun of her for going to Wisconsin where there's no football. And this is like right around the time of Doug Flutie in Boston College. So we were Boston College fans growing up. And like we would just laugh and laugh and laugh at how bad the Badgers were. And they were that bad for a really, really long time. And then the King took over, right? King Barry landed in Madison, and everything changed. And books have been written about it. And and we've all heard Barry Alvarez do interviews and podcasts and all sorts of stuff where he turned around the program as the head coach, Pat Richter as the athletic director. They changed the entire face of the university. And the 93, 94, I was a senior in high school when they went to the Rose Bowl for the first time against UCLA, and then started going to the Rose Bowl regularly, went back-to-back years against UCLA and Stanford. And then the number of times they went against TCU and Oregon and whatever. That's the Badgers. That's what the Badgers should be. We shouldn't be living in this universe where the Badgers have fallen down to the extent that they have fallen down. This is embarrassing. This is unacceptable. And I know Tommy and I just saw Chris McIntosh last week at the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame. We're going to get him on the show, but he knows this is not acceptable. Barry Alvarez knows. Pat Richter knows. Everybody knows this is not acceptable. So Luke Fickell's on the hot seat. Everybody's on the hot seat. And, we're going to talk to Jocko, Mike Jacques, about this coming up because he also knows this is not acceptable. This is not okay. And something, whether it's changing or needs to change, something needs to be different because you can't list 51 colleges, the top 51 football programs in the coaches' ranking coming into the 25 season, and the Wisconsin Badgers to not be on that list. Unacceptable.
Mitch, I'll even ask and add on to it.
Please do. This is Tommy Wirtz, the Kmart model, on the show right now.
Is that not a top 25 job in the country, no matter what?
So I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what the NIL numbers look like.
Okay.
I think based on what you've presented on the Mason Crosby show over the past couple of months, I think it is. Because I think the money is there.
Yeah.
But I would argue that over the past 15, 20 years, it is absolutely a top 25 job in terms of prestige and in terms of talent, especially in-state on the lines.
You can even say recent history, right? I mean, it's been a very successful program the last 25 years.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know in terms of NIL and in terms of fundraising if it's at that level, but I have a sneaky suspicion it is. And given the right coach and given a couple winning seasons, in the next couple seasons, I think that all turns around, and I think the money is there.
Yeah, I just think that the job should be considered a top 25 job in the country based on what has happened over the last 25 years on top of it.
But, Tommy, I think coming into it, I think Luke Fickell was viewed as a top 25 coach.
I agree. I completely agree. And I also would like to say that this is not really at a fault of the Badgers not trying, right? They haven't given up. They just what they are trying is not working, and that might be just as concerning.
Yeah. And so hopefully Chris is cleaning this up. Hopefully Luke is either cleaning it up or Luke is gone if he's not the right guy for the job, and I think we'll find out this year. Let's talk to Jocko about this next. My name's Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, the free Odyssey app, on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee. You're listening to Charlie Uzin, Tommy Wirtz, and Mitch Nellis, Thunder at the Fair on The Fan.